Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic. We're in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio and glad to be along with you once again. Welcome to the month of May, by the way. How are you? Cliff, always a pleasure, buddy. Appreciate you being along with us. A regular viewer of Wednesday Night Live and our Behind the Mic segments. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Johnny sent me a text this morning. He says, "Hey, you can apply for your bear tag now." I said, "Why would I want to apply for a bear tag, Johnny? Why would I possibly want to apply for a bear tag?" Another Johnny, another good Johnny. Johnny Craves, my brother-in-law. How you doing this morning? How's the fam? I love the picture of the twins in their T-ball uniforms. Going back to Johnny Bowler's comment, yes, this is the month of May. You can apply for your Michigan bear and elk tags. You might get a bear tag, but you won't get an elk tag. But you got to apply, right? Tim Binns, where'd you go, Tim? Good morning, Tim. How are you? Bruce, good morning. David, Joel, nice to have you along with us. Johnny Buller says, good morning, Uncle Johnny. Mad Jack says, good morning, Mr. Captain Mike behind the mic. Mike behind the mic. Mike behind two mics. People say, why do you have two microphones? Well, this one is the one I'm talking to you on right now, my social media microphone. And this one is my official broadcast microphone that we will turn on here in about 15 minutes as I record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. That's why I'm here in the studio, by the way. Hey, Corey, good morning. How are you? How's the fishing? David, good morning. Right back at you. Johnny Crave says, hey there, Johnny Bear Whisperer. And how did Johnny Bowler get the name of Bear Whisperer? It was me. I gave him that name. Scott, good morning. Hello, Craig. Craig, did you get signed up for the golf outing Monday, July 29th? I think you did sign up already at the West Branch Country Club. Proceeds to benefit MUCC's youth camp. You can sign up online at mucc.org/golf. Really looking forward to that event. I haven't played any golf yet, Uncle Johnny. We got to get out and play. Corey says, congrats again on your successful turkey hunt. Thank you. Mike at Offshore Account. Mike, I know, James told me, and I am jonesing so bad. Here's the deal. My Angler Quest is back at the Apex plant waiting to get new tubes put on it. Been here before. Cliff, Turkey Hunt 234 for Northern Michigan opens today. Absolutely. Turkey season is just getting fired up. We've got the whole month of May yet. Robert, good morning. How are you? Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, the new tubes. I bet I ran it last year with the old design, the old model of tubes. Good morning, Ed. How are you? A warm up round at Curry would be good. Although the new 9, the new 18 at Curry. Johnny, you shouldn't swear like that. Sorry, Johnny. Sorry, Johnny. Corey, the interesting thing about Curry is before they put the new holes in there, I used to bow hunt back in there. A friend of mine owned it and we could bow hunt back there. Now it's really cool to go back there and play golf in the same area that I used to bow hunt. Very cool. Good morning, Scott. Scott Hand. Walleye for Warriors. Still looking for boat captains. The event is June 8th and 9th. Go to walleyesforwarriors.org. You can sign up to be a boat captain. They need about 15 more. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. No, the tubes weren't damaged at all, Joe. It's no secret that Angler Quest makes a beautiful boat, but they did have one model of tubes that not everybody had problems with. I've been running them for years and never had a problem, but some people had problems with those tubes cracking and letting in water. So what they did was they redesigned them, and they're taking the old Angler Quest boats that are out there and swapping them out for new tubes. No problem, Johnny. Um, but I don't run the boat that hard, and if it's going to take a long time to get the new tubes, Dennis says I scared you too. You guys thought I was. I said I thought you passed out. I'm sorry, guys. I, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm healthy. I'm in good shape. I'm good. I'm not going to fall out on you right here on camera. But when somebody brought up my boat and the fact that it was at the plant again, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Good morning, Mike. How are you? James says, good morning. Any updates on the tax abatement on the purchase of gun safes? No. That's a good question, though. It was supposed to go back into effect in May, wasn't it? Yeah, we used to shoot a lot of does out of there, Corey. A lot of does. Good morning, Jim. How are you? Hunter Joe is seeing bucks starting to grow new racks already. Not uncommon. During turkey season, I've seen that before too. Scott says the way the wind keeps blowing, can't get out anyway. That's a good point, Scott. That's why I'm not just too bad right now. I'm jonesing, but not too bad, because the wind's been blowing so hard and the weather's been so screwy. I mean, it is the month of May, and last night we sat out at my granddaughter's softball game. We froze our butts off. Appreciate that, Craig. I got a lot of friends who will take me out. I appreciate that. But you guys know this. You guys know this. You know what it's like. You want to run your own boat. You want to run your own boat and your own gear and fish where you want and fish how you want. And it's just not the same to go out with somebody else. And I appreciate your offer. All of you are very generous, and I may take some of you up on it if this takes a while, but I just want to get my boat out there and fish my water. Scott Hand, stay out of my water, by the way. I'd like to. Jay, I owe Jay an apology. Jay was on the show last week, and I'm looking at his last name. And when I first saw it, I thought it was Wolderski. So, Jay, I called you on the air. I said, Jay Wolderski. My apologies for that, my friend. It is Jay Wojderski, or maybe it's Wojderski, but I apologize. Jay has signed up, or is going to sign up, for our golf outing in West Branch, by the way, and he's on the Black River guarding sturgeon this morning. Good morning, Hooked Up. How are you? Craig says he's getting the 12-inch Garmin with the autopilot. Do you have autopilot on your boat now, Craig? I'm telling you what, if once you fish with autopilot, and Brad Dupuy, Mr. Angler Quest, told me this. He said, once you fish with autopilot, you can't fish without it. It's like having an extra guy on board who will steer your boat for you, but he doesn't smoke your cigars and he doesn't drink your beer. He's like the perfect fishing partner. Elliot, just the opposite. Rather go with a friend than run my own boat. Then I don't need to bring out another 1,000. Another 1,000. Is that the name of your boat? And I get that too. I have bow fished before, but I don't do it routinely. Oh, Amy, 90 degrees here today in Nashville. Hot week again. Craig says, you convinced me to get it, right? Because when you were fishing with me, you saw in my Angler Quest what autopilot's like. I mean, it's phenomenal. You set it to go where you want, and then you turn around and fish. The only thing is you have to make sure you turn around and look forward once in a while, make sure there's not a net or more boats. You can also set it up to do lazy S's, which I usually don't. Scott says, Amy, you can have that 90. Yes, Scott, with autopilot, you do have to still pay attention. Absolutely. And I ran into a case in this last year. I had a crew out fishing water that the week before had been clear. I took a boat out. I took a crew out into the same water. Didn't expect to see nets out there. So as I'm setting rods at the back of the boat, I'm occasionally turning around to make sure there's no boats in front of me. I wasn't looking for net buoys because 3 days before, they weren't there. And I trolled right into a net. Now, my crew said, oh, yeah, we saw those markers. I said, why didn't you say something? Because they didn't know. They weren't boaters. They weren't anglers. They didn't know that those markers meant anything. It was not their problem, their responsibility. It was my responsibility as a captain of the boat. It looks like, John, that they brought in some Tim Hortons out there. Oh. Hey, and I turned that fan on too, just to get some air moving in here. I don't even think you can even hear it on the mic, can you?
No.
Okay. Okay. Johnny's thinking about putting in for an elk tag. Put in for one, Johnny. You might just be the guy who get one. If anybody's going to get an elk tag, it's going to be Johnny Bowler. Atlanta trout streams flowing high with a recent rain. The boat break out another BOAT. I've never heard that before. BOAT, break out another 1,000 at least. Brent James is in the turkey blind this morning. He's out there in his Wraith 270 see-through blind. Good luck to you, Brent. I'll look forward to seeing a picture of you with a big bird. Ross Elliott, my skinny friend, how are you? You know, Elliot, this is interesting. You talk about autopilots on boats and auto steer on tractors. When I was a kid growing up, of course, obviously, 50 years ago, when I used to sit on a tractor, there was no such thing. We never dreamed of it. And as you're sitting out there day after day, hour after hour in the sun with no air conditioning, no cab or anything, you maybe nod off a little bit or drift off a little bit, run over something, and not, you're cultivating corn or whatever. Mark Halston. How are you, buddy? Back from Arizona. Have you been golfing, Mark? Did you sign up for our event? Sherry, how are things in Poseyville? Good morning, Jerry. How are you? Scott says, you can hardly see and avoid nets. You can hardly. I tell you what, the nets that I saw that morning weren't there 3 days before, so there was no reason for me to look for them. Morning, Art. Art Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, just poked his head in the door. He says, good morning to all of you. Matt says, you have a golf event? Matt, we have a charity golf outing Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club with proceeds to benefit MUCC's youth camp. Go to mucc.org, mucc.org/golf, and you can sign up. Love to have you there, Matt. Now, let me talk about a few things on my list here. It is the month of May, which means it is time to apply for your Michigan bear and elk tag. You might get a bear tag. You're not going to get an elk tag. Retired 15 years now. Oh, you do, Matt. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see you there, Matt. I've never played that course. Uncle Johnny and I and our beautiful wives are going to go up there and play it soon. Looking forward to it. mucc.org/golf. Every year, well, back when I used to MC the elk hunt orientation meetings, I'd say, okay, raise your hand. How many of you have applied 30 years? And there'd be a bunch of people, 20, blah, blah, blah. And I say, okay, anybody here apply for the first year? And keep in mind, everybody in that room had an elk tag. Anybody here apply for the first time? 2 or 3 hands would go up. Okay. And I'd say, does either one of you guys have a bull tag? A couple of hands would go up. Every year, inevitably, somebody who applies for the first time gets a bull tag. I don't know how it happens. It's just the luck of the draw. Bear tags, I'll tell you right now, I'm applying for the Seney or for the Newberry District 3rd season. That's what I'm applying for. And I can do that with some level of confidence because I have a good friend there, Johnny Bowler, the bear whisperer, who will guide me on a bear hunt. Ed says he's putting in to shoot my bear later today. I'm telling you this, Bolanowski and Bowler. If I find out that Bolanowski is on a piece of property that you had saved for me, Johnny Bowler, our friendship is done. And you too, Bolanowski, our friendship is done. Just because Scott Gatza did it, don't think I'm going to let you guys get away with it twice. There is always one, Mike. Mike had a buddy get a bull tag the first time ever. Steve, good morning, Steve. How are you? Hey, listen, it was nice to see you Sunday. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to talk, but you were busy. Hunter Joe says lots of bears in the Seney Newberry area. I only need one. That's all I need. Arlen, good morning. Corey, I'm telling you, if I think anybody who loves to hunt, whether it's deer or turkeys or whatever, I think you should at least try bear hunting once. Uh, most most people fall in love with it. Now, some say, I could take it or leave it. Like my son James is like, yeah, it was fun, but I could take it or leave it. Me, I'd quit hunting everything else if I could just hunt bears. It's a lot of fun. And May is the time to apply for your Michigan bear and elk tag. Johnny Bowler said he wasn't guiding the third hunt, or maybe he's only doing one. I think Johnny was kidding. I think Johnny said, I'm not taking any hunters third season because he's taking me third season if I get a tag. Johnny, you can take other people. I'm not gonna listen. I don't want to cut into your income stream, buddy. But only one on my property, right? Are party tags the best way to go for a bear license? Rick, I've looked at this. I've researched this. I don't believe so. I don't think it statistically makes a difference at all. Zach said, good morning. Well, good morning, Zach. We have a cabin between Newberry and Grand Marais, and we have more wolves than bears now. Corey, listen, Corey, don't wait until you get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points to get your first season. Well, maybe for your first bear, maybe you do. I tried that. I like bear hunting so much that I would prefer to go every other year and hunt the third season. Good morning, Scott. How are you? Okay. You guys know how much I love that Wraith 270 see-through ground blind, right? I had a little sneak peek at a new blind from Primal. It's called the Harvester. In fact, one showed up at my door the other day. I don't know if this Harvester is a prototype or if this is a production blind, but it's pretty sweet. The only thing I'm not sold on is I don't consider it a true see-through blind. And maybe it's because mine is a prototype or maybe they changed the windows. I don't know. But it's a sweet, sweet blind, and I'm quite sure it will be my go-to blind from now on. Good morning, John. I will use it for my bear hunt in August. Matt is going to save up for his Drummond Island tag. Matt, how long are you willing to wait, buddy? It's going to take you more than 2 decades. Todd, how are things in Louisville? Sounds good, Corey. Hey, listen, I better tell you who's on the show before I run out of time because I got about 3 minutes, Charlie Rude. For those of you who are regular listeners, all I have to say is Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Maybe about 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Okay, here's who is on. Here's what's coming up this week on Outdoor Magazine. John Nelson talks about high school trap shooting. Now, I have been watching my grandson Carter shoot trap. He's in his 3rd season now. He shoots for the local high school team. I am in love with this sport. I love everything about this sport. I'm not a trap shooter personally. I don't shoot skeet trap, 5-stand, sporting clays, any of that. But when I see these high school kids out there on the trap line, learning the sport, learning how to shoot, learning responsible gun handling techniques, I am absolutely in love with it, and I support it every way that I can. So we're going to talk about that with John. Then Paul Phillips, one of the best extreme long-range shooters in the world, talks about an upcoming event he has. There's still time to get involved if you want. In our second hour, Jim Chamberlain on northern Michigan trout fishing and more. Then Amy Trotter of MUCC. I know you love Amy. Amy is just a wealth of information. She is so smart. She is so articulate, and she's a good person to have in charge of MUCC. Amy is going to answer this week's Ask Avery question, too. You want to know what the Ask Avery question is? So do I. I'm still making it up. No. This week's Ask Avery question is, what, Amy Trotter, do you see as the biggest threat / problems / concern for hunters and anglers in Michigan? Pretty broad-based question, but I'll be very curious how she answers it. And in our third hour, Dave Engel of Best Chance 2 Charters, one of the most successful tournament captains on the Great Lakes. He's going to talk about early season trolling, big water, and then wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Rick says, just wondering, Mike, if you might say congratulations to my son Mason. He just completed hunter safety and scored 100% of his test. Mason, Congrats, buddy. That is a big accomplishment. I don't think you even know yet what you are moving into. The fact that you have your hunter safety certificate now and you can get a hunting license and you can go hunting, Mason. I am very proud of you. I don't even know you, Mason, and I'm proud of you. I know your dad's proud of you. I wish you well. I wish you luck. Be safe while you're out there. Have fun. Don't judge your hunts by whether you harvest an animal or not. Judge your hunts by the experience and how much fun you have. So, congrats, Mason. Good job. 10 years old.
25.
25 minutes, Charlie?
Yeah. Yeah. You want that first time?
Hi, my friends. Charlie Rue just blew it. Charlie just blew in here at the last minute and says you got like 10 seconds before you got to go to work. What? See what I'm dealing with here? See the level of professionalism that I have to deal with here? My goodness. Between me and Charlie, there's 80 years of broadcasting in this room. Think about that. Between me and Charlie, there's 80 years of broadcasting in this room, and neither one of us can get it right some days. Well, I can't, Charlie. Charlie rarely screws up, but I screw up all the time. Yeah, Charlie says it smells like 80 years in here. Kevin Prophet says Charlie is a pro. Kevin spent a lot of years in broadcasting himself. All right, my friends, I got to go. I got to go to work. You know, you can't call this work, right? I love what I'm doing, and thank you for that. Thank you, God, for this. I will be back tonight at 7:00 for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. I hope you can join me then. Tim checking in from Ohio. I will be in White River in August. All right, my friends. Have a good day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. Yep, it's a radio show, all right. You might be listening to it as a podcast, but it's a radio show. Regardless of how you are hearing my voice, when you are hearing my voice, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I consider it a blessing to sit in this studio at this microphone every week to talk about the history and tradition of the great outdoors here in the great state of Michigan. We talk about hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and wildlife issues and conservation issues, even some wild game cooking. We wrap up each week's show with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner, and he will be along with us once again. Welcome to the month of May. What does that mean for you? Does it mean morels? Does it mean you're hunting the Michigan mosquito season for turkeys? Which can be a very, very, very productive time to hunt birds, by the way. It took me a while to get that through my thick skull. And I didn't intentionally find this out. I found out accidentally when I had ZZ, which is open from the end of April through May, and I couldn't get a bird in late April. So I ended up hunting in early May, and it was amazing. It was interesting, the difference in the behavior of the birds in May versus 2 weeks earlier, especially the further you get into the season, the longer into the month. Because, by then, most of the hens have been bred. The toms, the longbeards, the gobblers, they're out looking. They're more responsive to calls. Midday hunts in May are absolutely beautiful. So if you're out there turkey hunting, good luck to you. I want to see your pictures, by the way. Your successful turkey pictures. And listen, success doesn't mean necessarily the harvest of an animal. You can have a very, very successful hunt and not take an animal. You can have a wonderful fishing trip and not catch any fish or not catch your limit. That's not what it's about. It's the experience that is the experience. I think most hunters and anglers go through this progression in their life. When you're young, and I'll talk about myself here, but as I've talked with a lot of my friends, they echo these thoughts. When you're young, you just want to prove to yourself and your buddies that you can do it. So you're learning how to do it. You're learning how to hunt. You're learning how to fish. So step one is to learn. Step two then is to try to be as proficient as you can. Okay, well, I caught a big fish today, or I caught a limit of fish today. And that starts to be your goal. Numbers and size, a big walleye, a big deer, a big turkey. And that goes on for a few years. And then it's like, okay, you go from numbers, quantity to quality. I want my hunt to be a good hunt. And if I'm going to pull a trigger, I want it to be, I don't want to say a trophy animal, but something I can be very proud of, a big walleye, big turkey, big bear, big deer. And then time catches up with you. And that's when it starts to click that this whole thing that we're doing here, this hunting and fishing lifestyle, is not about the harvest. We have to harvest fish and game to ensure their successful management for generations into the future. You have to hunt and fish, you have to harvest fish and harvest game to make for healthy populations for the future. But eventually, the harvest doesn't become the goal anymore. The experience is what counts. It's the experience of being out there that is the ultimate experience. And then you get to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't care if I ever harvest something again, but I still want to be out there and I want to take somebody else with me. I want to take a kid with me. I want to take a spouse with me. I want to take a friend with me. And I want to introduce them to what this is that has me so addicted to this outdoor lifestyle. So it's a progression. Most of us go through that. Don't know how I got off track there, but I guess I was supposed to go there. So May is the time of year here in Michigan to apply for your Michigan bear tag and your Michigan elk tag. You might get a bear tag. You're not going to get an elk tag. Just resign yourself to the fact right now, you're not going to get an elk tag. If you apply with the mindset of, I'm not going to get one, when you don't get one, it's not a disappointment. But if God smiles on you and the heavens open up and a ray of sunshine comes down and lands in your mailbox or your inbox for your email and says, congratulations, you've been successful in the 2024 elk drawing, then you can rejoice and celebrate. That's how I go into it, because I've been applying for a long time. Never. And I never will get an elk tag. The only way I will get an elk tag is if I get it through the Pure Michigan hunt. And I think I'm going to win that sometime while I'm still around. Now, I'm only saying this somewhat in jest because, of course, you have to apply if you want a tag. I mean, if you don't apply, you're never going to get a tag, right? When I used to MC the elk orientation meetings for the hunters, I would ask the question, there'd be like 100 hunters in the room. Okay, how many of you here have applied for 30 years? There'd be some people that hold their hand up. How many of you have applied for 20 years? Most of the people in the room hold their hand up. And I'd work my way down. I'd get to the point where I'd say, is there anybody in this room who this is the first year you applied and you got a tag? And there'd be 2 or 3 people put their hand up. And then I would say, you don't happen to have a bull tag, do you? And inevitably, somebody or a couple of somebodies would sheepishly raise their hand and say, yeah, I applied the first year and I got an elk tag. So it does happen. It's just not going to happen to you and it's not going to happen to me. But if we don't apply, it can't happen. So I am going to apply for my Michigan elk tag, knowing full well I will not get it. So when I don't get it, I won't be disappointed. I'm also applying for my Michigan bear tag, and I will get one of those this year. At least I think I will. I'm applying for the 3rd season in an area in the UP. And well, in fact, I'll tell you, it's the Newberry district. My application is for 3rd season Newberry Bear Management Unit. If I get a tag, the bear whisperer, Johnny Bowler, is there waiting for me. I think I'm going to get a bear tag. I know I will be bear hunting in at least this is the plan, White River, Ontario, Canada in mid-August. I'll be back up there with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. So I, with some luck, will have a bear hunt in Ontario in mid-August, and then a bear hunt in the UP in late September. Speaking of hunting, one of my favorite ways to hunt is out of a ground blind. I love that Primal Outdoors Wraith 270 see-through blind, which is my go-to. That might be being replaced as my go-to blind because yesterday the UPS guy showed up on my door and he dropped off a package. And in that package was a new blind called the Primal Harvester. Now, I've looked on the website. It's not offered anywhere. I can't find out anything about it. So I don't know. I mean, I knew this was coming because I'd been talking to Bob Ransom. But what I don't know if this is a prototype blind or if this is an actual production model blind. I like it. I'm not sure you can say it has see-through windows to the extent that the Wraith does. But the window configuration, the fact that it uses magnets instead of zippers, you know what I'm talking about. If you've hunted out of a portable ground blind, that zipper in the morning to get in, zipper at night to get out, it's dead quiet in the woods. You're sneaking in there, zit, zit, the other side, and you got to get in. Or at night, same thing, zit, zit, and you can't get around it. Well, this blind uses magnets and a little hook that hooks the door. It is pretty sweet indeed. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know more about it. I don't know, again, when it's coming out, how much it's going to be, but I think it's going to be one of my go-to blinds for sure. The golf outing's coming up. I haven't had a chance to play any golf yet. I'm jonesing bad, but as you make your summertime plans, think about our golf outing in West Branch, Monday, July 29th. It's the first annual Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing. It is to benefit MUCC's youth camp. I mean, if you're going to have a golf outing to raise money, if I'm going to have a golf outing to raise money, it's going to be an outdoor related charity. And I immediately thought of MUCC's youth camp, and it all came together. So I'm convinced it's the way it was supposed to be. If you'd like to join us, if you'd like to play in the outing, or if you would like to be be a sponsor, you can go to the website, mucc.org/golf. That's mucc.org/golf to sign up. Also, Walleye for Warriors, still looking for boat captains. Go to walleyesforwarriors.org, walleyesforwarriors.org. That is June 8th and 9th on Saginaw Bay. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine show after the break, John Nelson talking about high school trap shooting. Then shooting expert Paul Phillips on an upcoming school he has to make you a better shooter. In our second hour, Jim Chamberlain on Northern Michigan trout fishing, plus Amy Trotter of MUCC. And in hour number 3, early season big water trolling with Captain Dave Engel of Best Chance 2 Charters. And we will wrap it all up with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Miner. My name is Mike Avery. The show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Glad you're with us. Lots coming up. Stick around. Stick around after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. Okay, I hope I got all of the marbles out of my mouth in that first segment, and we will move on. All right, my friends, have a good day. I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live.